The fondest memories of my mom are working with her at her rooming house. And I would go on the bus and then the streetcar with my mother to help her sweep and mop the floors and empty the waste cans and clean the windows. And she paid me as if she were hiring somebody who was an adult. And I worked as well as an adult, I think. When people find out that I had a connection with Dr. King, they are very surprised and say, how on earth did that happen? And I let them know that it was a mystery to me, but there was one moment when King was stoned, and I, as a field marshal, hoping to catch bricks or bottles and inspire Blackstone Rangers to stay true to the nonviolent commitment that was the whole premise of the march, truth power. And when King was hit, they asked me if I would meld into the crowd, into the mob, and begin a search for anybody who might have a gun, which terrified me, because if I were noticed by one person in the mob, oh my God. Freedom schools were movement schools in a very, very significant moment in American history. So the lessons the children learned were, I think, at a very, very deep level, because the drama of the open housing marches became part of the subject matter for conversation, and weaving into, in my case, a theatrical performance that my students and I put forth in a little Baptist church on the south side of Chicago. Alverno no longer had a faculty position for me, and also UWM no longer had a position for me in the aftermath of my letting them know I wasn't going to finish my dissertation. There were a number of political scientists who were against the war in Vietnam and who worried about the arrogance of American power. But I would have not been able to cobble together politically a dissertation committee that would have endorsed my project. I had worked on the roofs of St. Louis and Chicago during my high school and undergraduate days, and a little bit in graduate school. No, not much. And so it was a skill, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised that within maybe a half hour of phone calls, I was hired to put a roof on near Mitchell Street, 6th and Mitchell, a little barber shop. And the rates for being a production roofer, which I was, were high enough that I could imagine fulfilling my parental responsibilities. And so I started a company, and it survived, to my astonishment. And to my deep gratitude, only by the grace of God. After 40 years up high on the roofs with a few hundred people, removing thousands and thousands of pounds of materials, it is only by the grace of God that I am not dead, in jail, bankrupt, crippled, in a mental institution, or publicly shamed on the scale of Conrad's Lord Jim. That was my summary statement upon my 70th year celebration, and I think that might well be my testament.